Konnichiwa! If you've been with me since the beginning, you have been killing this beginner Spanish, Japanese, French, German. I got a lot of comments from a lot of people about a lot of different languages. I'm so excited. You've been making your labels, you know your colors, your animals, you and your kids. What is this? This is I like, and you got this beginner stuff down. So now where do we go? Intermediate. Yes. You can tell I'm excited as always. All right, so let's jump right in. What are we doing in this intermediate level area? Okay, so this is where I'm at. I'm at like upper intermediate and I want to be advanced. So I want to pull you up here with me and we're going to take the road to the advanced together. So I would describe my Japanese as like, you know, the Korean lady, or like, it could be any language, Spanish lady that's in America and she lived there for like 15 years. You know her. She might work at the library still. She's so nice, but when you talk to her, her English, like you can understand everything she said, but she might miss a particle or it's like something missing. But nobody ever corrects her because they understand what she said and she got her point across. You knew exactly what she was talking about, the whole story came across, everything like that. But it wasn't proper English. It wasn't good English, but it was enough English, right? You could say good English. Like she's fluent, but she could do better. Like you could, you know? All right, I think you got the picture. So that's me. So I want to do better and take that next step and just be fluent. All right? So what are we doing? First, we're going to ask ourselves, what are they saying that we're not saying? So sometimes they're not correcting us. And that can be hard because you need those corrections that you used to get when you were a beginner to help you figure out what's missing in my sentence than what you said. We saying the same thing, but we ain't, you know? So one way that I found is scripts. I can't say this word. Scripts. You know, a play. So I'm lucky enough to found a website that has Japanese scripts and for different situations, like a mom talking to a child, or a husband and a wife talking about different topics. And I kind of study those and like look at what are they using that I'm not, because I would say these same things except maybe I wouldn't say therefore, and this kind of stuff is what I'm missing. So ask yourself, what are they saying that I'm not saying? See if you can get your hands on some written transcripts, some plays, put the captions on when you're watching TV, and just keep in mind when you're in conversation with your language partners or your friends, your foreign language friends, whatever you have to work with, italki, tutors, what are they saying that I'm not saying, right? Okay, number 2, thinking. There's 4, by the way. Thinking. I am so terrible at this, but I'm trying to be more mindful about thinking in Japanese. It's so hard. So I realize, especially because I ride my bike everywhere we go, I have a lot of time to think. And usually I'm just like running through my day and maybe talking about something that happened or something that I want to do with the kids, you know, usual thought process. But it's all in English. So I'm thinking if I change my bike ride think process time to Japanese, then I can kind of fill the holes, practice a little bit more with myself inside. So that's my goal for this month, and going on into next month, is try to actively think in Japanese all the time, not just when I'm actually talking to my children, but just when I'm biking, think in Japanese. It's hard. Okay, but if Jason can do it, I'm sure I can do it. Wish me luck. I will follow up on that later in the advanced video, I'm sure, right? All right. So reading in the second language is so important. So I found a blogger. His name is his blog is All Japanese All the Time, and a good takeaway I got from him was that some of the problems you have in your language learning is that you're illiterate. Hurt my heart. Never been illiterate anything in my life. So he's right though, because I'm not fluently reading kanji. So my focus this year is definitely kanji. I'm going to read a lot of books. I found the used bookstore, which happened to be, I ain't even lying, 5 minutes from my house. And like from my house, like inside the house, 5 minutes. Like they just want me to go to that store. Went in the store, $1 books. Can't beat that. I brought 5. So I'm going to be reading. I'm going to be trying. I'm going to be striving to be fluent reader in Japanese. So a little tangent that you may or may not know, but there are 4 parts to learning a language. You are speaking, you're listening, you're reading, and you're writing. And unfortunately, they do not connect in your brain. So if you're a good speaker, that does not mean that you can read or write or listen well. If you're a good listener, doesn't mean you can speak. Just because you can write doesn't mean you can read. It does not transfer over. And so you need to practice all 4 of those independently. You need to be speaking, you need to be listening, you need to be reading, and you need to be writing. Yes. Okay, so this year for me is about upping my reading. I am very mindful already about speaking every day. My listening skills are on point. I can actually say I'm a fluent listener. Like I'm all in the conversations. When I'm walking through the mall, I know what she said. I'm like, I heard that. So my listening is good. My speaking is slightly under that. Then my reading and my writing. And my writing in 2 of the 3 alphabets is really good, but I just need my kanji. So as I study kanji and reading, I'm going to also be writing them and writing in kanji, period. Okay, so that's my year, how we're moving up. So last is upping our vocabulary. Yes, so this goes for English too. I know a lot of people do things like word of the day to just try to advance their English because, as you know, you don't have to know every word in the language to be considered fluent. We ain't fluent in English if that were the case. Like, we don't know everything. We just know how to work through the conversation. So, for instance, if someone says a word that you don't know in English, this happens all the time, like every day in your life. Just be mindful of it. They'll say something, a new slang or the name of a restaurant or just something off the wall. You're like, what'd you just say? They're like, oh, the GoPro. And you're like, what? What is that? You don't know what that is. Does that make you not fluent in English? No. So it also doesn't make you not fluent in your second language. You just have to know how to ask. What is that? They'll say, oh, it's a type of camera that you take when you're adventuring. You're like, that's what it's called, a GoPro. Okay. So now tell me what you were going to tell me about the GoPro. And then they tell you about it. And then there you go. You picked up a new word and you learned whatever words you're going to learn in their story. And you kept the conversation going. So if you're not there yet, beginner, intermediate, learn how to use what you have to get something across. So those question words are so important. What, when, where, who, how. So important. And learning how to describe using your beginner vocabulary. Okay, you can't remember the word for librarian. Who knows that? I don't know. In your second language, and you're like, so I went to take my books back to the library. And I gave them to, what's the lady that worked in the library and she take your book bags? It was the scanner thing. They're like, oh, the librarian. Yes, the librarian. So I gave them back to the librarian, and the librarian said, you good. So learn to use what you have to get what you need. Let's up our vocabulary in 2020. All right. So, that's all I got for you. I just want us to hit that. Every language learner site has that intermediate plateau. And I hate that because it has such a negative connotation to it. And I'm trying to stay all positive, all fun. Okay? So, we are not going to call it that. We are just going to hit the road from intermediate to advanced or from beginner to intermediate. And I will see you on the other side because we're going to get there together. All right, that's my 2 cents for the week. Johnny.